Hello there folks, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So today we're going to try to accomplish some of the goals we set out to accomplish last episode, such as getting into space, and hopefully we'll even be able to get into an orbit this episode. That probably shouldn't be an issue at all. Alright, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the administration complex, and yesterday we discussed a little bit about the recovery transponder fitting, which essentially plus 5.5 to maximum vessel recovery. And we can commit more, well, it says percentage to it, and all that does is that increases the percentage that we get from it. So right now we can only go to about 25% because of our administration building, so I think we're going to do that. It's going to cost us a lot of money, but it will save us money in the long run, and the sooner we do this, the more money we will save. Yes, there we go. Alright, we will close that out then. And last episode, as you know, we tried to launch a ship up. It didn't really work that well. The first stage went really well, but then when we disconnected the second stage, it decided to do, well, not quite a backflip, but it decided to go sideways. And that's because I neglected to realize that with the new aerodynamic model, I had to have a parachute on both sides. Otherwise, the drag from one parachute would cause it to veer off in one direction. So I fixed that issue. We have an additional parachute, and because we have an additional parachute, that means we can hold more weight, which means we put a service bay in here. And if you open up the service bay, you'll see there's a goo container. So usually in the previous versions of KSP, I would just slap a goo container on the outside of my ship. But with the new aerodynamic models, that's not going to be an option, so the service bay is a great place to put that. Until we have fairings, we're going to have to deal with the service bay. Also, I put some fins on here just in case, and we still have our Science McJunior thingamabob down here, and a heat shield in case we do make it into space and we don't want to destroy our science. So there's that, and this is the GoMaker Mark III. This should definitely break a couple of our altitude records. Maybe not our speed record, but definitely our altitude records. So let's launch this. Also, before we do that, you'll see we can have a total of 255 parts on our ship now, so that's quite a lot, and the mass of our ship can go all the way up to 140 tons. That's because we upgraded our landing pad, so that's very nice. So instead of having just a block of cement, we have a block of cement with some venting underneath it. Oh god! Oh god! I may have made a mistake. Well, at least we caught that before we tipped over. I guess we need to get some of those, well, that's quite unfortunate. I guess we're gonna have to relaunch this mission before we tip over, and we're gonna have to find out why we tipped over. With this new aerodynamic model, it's a bit strange. And yeah, we're just gonna cut the throttle. Do that, and deploy our parachutes. Might as well get some science out of it, though. Keep data. Well, that was loud. So let's observe the goo and do all of our reports. We're not going to get much science from it, but we'll get what we can. And I'm going to have to figure out why such things went wrong. Well, we didn't get any science from that. Oh, well, whatever. We'll keep the data. But we do know that this ship is going to be nice and gentle when it comes down to the surface, so let us speed up time just a little bit. Alright, we're going to have to look at our center of mass and our center of lift to make sure they're on the same vector. Alright, and slow down, there we go. Recover the vessel. Don't get too much from it. In fact, we probably won't get anything. Hey, we got some science. Not a lot, but science is science. We got some funds from the recovered parts. We didn't really do anything. We actually lost 3,000 credits, but that's not an issue. We still have 700,000 credits right there. So, alright, well, let's take a look at the thrust and velocity vector on this. So, center of thrust, right where it should be. Center of mass. Looks like where it should be. I don't see why it would be tipping over. That's strange. Maybe the fins are offset. No, the fins are right on the center. We have everything is good. Center of lift. Yeah, the center of lift is actually slightly outside our center of mass. Our center of mass is forced that way a little bit. I wonder if it's because the goo container is in a weird spot. That's really the only possible explanation. Actually, maybe we'll remove the parachutes. Parachutes here. We'll put them on via symmetry to make sure that they're all set up properly. So, there we go. That looks fine. Center of thrust is good. Center of lift looks fine. However, we are going to get rid of the goo container just because I think it might be the thing that's causing the issue. Also, we don't need fins anymore if that's the case. So, let's save this, launch it. Hopefully we can get into space. Okay, it turns out that the base was too narrow and it was just tipping over. So that was the problem. So now we solved that issue with putting more rockets on it to kind of even out the base, because we don't have the stability launcher things yet, which is exactly what we need. Because right now, even though these things are all symmetrical, it's still at an angle, which is kind of strange, but whatever. SAS on, and up we go. I just realized we're probably going to be going really, really fast. We might blow off of our parachutes. They might get destroyed via heat. Well, if that happens, I'm sorry, Jeb. We'll get a lot of science from it because I did put the Science Junior stuff back on. Yay! We got the speed record, which is good. Alright, we're going to be slowing down pretty quick here. I'm going to slow down a little bit because I don't want to... let's thrust, and again with the flips. I'm guessing that has to do with the center of mass not being where it should be. But lock SAS. Well, let's try to lock the SAS. Yay, we got the altitude that we needed. And hopefully we can get back on our vector. Come on. Nope. We're still in the thick part of the atmosphere, so it's going to be really hard to control. And let's lock, thrust. Yeah, there we go. That's the stuff. Alright, we can hopefully now make it into space. I think we should be able to make it into space with this. It's kind of hard to control. We don't really have any SAS units, so to speak. And this is probably why it's so hard to control right now. Alright, let's take a look at our apoaps. Are we going to make it into space? Yeah, it looks like we will. So we're going to be doing some science in space then. Probably not an EVA because we're not in an orbit, so it's going to be very, very precarious if we try to exit our craft and enter it while we're falling. So, well, let's speed up time until we get to space, and then we'll do our science. Alright. We are in the spaces. We can get rid of our rocket stage. And we have our heat shield. Probably won't need it, but can't possibly hurt. So, observe materials bay. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of the crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around in the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. Keep data. Open. And goo, it's your turn. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. Keep data. And crew report. It seems we are very much in space now. The sky seems to be mostly below us. Keep data. Alright. Well, we can close the material bay, or the service bay. And we can also, well, we're gonna keep that. And Jeb's loving it. He is having the time of his life. IVA, we can take a look at space. Yay, space. Ooh. There's the Milky Way, or whatever galaxy this guy seems to live in. Well, that's cool. We're going to speed up time again. And we are falling. We have the world's first something record. I wasn't able to read that in time, but we got all of the achievements we set out to achieve, which is absolutely fantastic. And we're going to be landing a little bit to the, I'm guessing this is east of, okay, ooh, yeah, I guess it's a good thing we put that heat shield on. So we're going to be landing a little bit to the east of where we launched, but that's because Kerbal moved while we were in space. It moved below us. Alright, well, it looks as though we're all set. We can deploy our chutes. That should help slow us down a little bit. They won't actually fully deploy for quite a while. We might actually make a water landing by the looks of it. So, let's speed up time and go from there. Hopefully we'll be able to research some stuff that helps us fly in a straight line rather than, well, as you saw before, we were tumbling for quite a distance. Alright, nice slow velocity and a water landing, so all should be well. Hey, there's the Mun. We'll make it there someday. Hopefully pretty soon, actually. Alright. And we should be close enough to the space center to recover the vessel, no problem. And gonna be landing imminently, and then we can go do our science and stuffs. There we go. Recover the vessel. And there we go. 96 science earned, not bad. Also, we got 3,000 parts, or 3,000 funds from the parts recovered. Not too much. We spent over probably 12,000 credits on the ship itself, so we lost money there. But I do believe we made money. Oh yeah, we made a lot of money from all of the contracts that we did, so that's always nice. Also, no reputation, unfortunately. Still do have 220 total reputation. Alright, well, let's go to the science area. So where are the... Yeah, there we go. General construction. That gives us the space tape, or the strut connectors. Also a Rockomax decoupler, and the launch stability enhancers, which is something that we really need. So I'm going to research that. We have enough for one more at least, maybe possibly two. No, these are all 45 science, so we're only going to be able to research one more. We almost have enough to research these, but not quite. We really could do with some fairings. Do we have any fairings here? Yeah, there we go. There's a protective fairing. That would help us a lot, and that would probably help us prevent from tipping over and stuff while we're in the lower atmosphere. Well, general flight. I think we could go for an SAS unit, because that would really help us stay stable. I really would like these, but flipping over seems to be an issue with us, so inline reaction wheels and winglets probably would help us prevent that from happening. And advanced control will give us the better stabilizer that helps us with RCS as well, and some new lander cans for Mun missions and stuff like that, but we don't have the science for that quite yet. Alright. Well, let's go and see what we can do as far as missions are concerned. We have ferry two tourists to their destination. Not really. I'm not a ferry service at the moment. Perform visual surveys of Kerbal. What does this entail? So, take an EVA report on the surface of sector over somewhere. Okay, well, we could do these easy ones, such as test the Rockomax brand decouplers and stuff, but what sounds like a fun one? Skipper engines, spark engine. I don't believe we have these engines yet, so we can't do these. And I don't believe we have this particular Rockomax. I know we have a decoupler. Not sure if it's this size, though. Alright, so here is our new Fantastic. Orbit Maker Mark 1. So, we have our solid rocket boosters, and they have these stability enhancers, so that should greatly reduce our chance of tipping over on the launch pad like we almost did last time. Also, as you see, it's quite a lot changed from the last design. Instead of having a parachute up top, we have a nose cone with a reaction wheel to help keep us stable. And also to help keep us stable, we have these winglets. They're on the second stage. I would put them on the first stage, but I don't want them getting in the way of our solid rocket boosters. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to carry that extra weight with us when we get into space, and we will get into space. Trust me on this one. And here we have another rocket booster. This is a liquid fuel rocket booster for our second stage, and it has the gimbaling engine, which has a higher, what is it called, an ISP? It's a specific thrust in space, so it has a better thrust in space than the other one. And we have the same three, well, there's two up here, but now we have the same type of fuel tanks here, but we have three of them with the same rocket engine. We have it gimbaling so that we don't flip around and do tosses and tumbles in the lower atmosphere like we've been doing. And then we have 4 solid rocket boosters to help get us out of the thickest part of the atmosphere really, really quickly. So let's save this and launch. Another thing that we have to keep in mind is we don't want to go past our prograde marker when we're in the lower part of the atmosphere. Otherwise, we will have a much higher chance of tumbling out of control. Make sure all our stuff is all set up properly. And yep, everything's set up. Our staging is correct. So this is going to launch. That's going to decouple. Then we should probably move that down here. There we go. Yep. And that should be good. Actually, no, it won't be good. I forgot to put a decoupler in there. Okay, well, it's a good thing we checked our staging because I forgot to put a decoupler in between our second stage liquid boosters and our heat shield, which is going to be the only thing that's going to be protecting us from coming back. So if we decided to bring this whole entire second stage with us, our ship probably would have burnt up in the atmosphere as it was tumbling and whatnot. So that is all resolved. So let's turn on our SAS. Well, actually, we don't need to throttle up too much. And make sure our staging is correct. We're going to launch these 4. Those are going to detach. Then that'll detach. And then that'll detach. Well, actually, there we go. That's better. All right. Well, let's launch this guy in 3, 2, launch. And let's start our lateral movement off nice and slowly. That's about as much as we're going to want to do while we're in the lower atmosphere. I know you can be more aggressive, but I really don't want to be flipping out because we've flipped our ship several times already, and I don't want to make that a three-peat performance. So 2 times is enough. And as you can see, our winglets are working overtime just to keep us from flipping out of control right now. So there we go. Everything is going well. We had a couple of solid rocket boosters explode down there, but whatever. And we are slowing down a little bit. I could probably increase our throttle. And we are getting out of the lower atmosphere. Not quite yet, but once we reach 20,000 meters, I think I'm going to do a more dramatic turn. I don't want to flip out at this altitude, because that would be a complete waste of my first stage. Alright, now we're above 20,000 meters. I think it's safe enough to start poking our nose this direction. There we go. And we're not flipping out, so that means the atmospheric drag has certainly weakened. And we can really start burning towards the 90-degree mark. There we go. And hopefully we'll be able to reach our distance record, and we'll be able to reach our orbit contract, and speed record, for that matter. And we should really start burning laterally to get our speed up. There we go. Everything's going well. Let's decouple that, and off we go. Second stage away. And we're going to just burn at the 90-degree mark because we need all the delta V we can to reach orbital velocity. We do have 2 fuel tanks, so hopefully that will help us do that. Unfortunately, we have to carry these winglets around with us. I know it's not ideal, but if we put them any lower, it would have gotten in the way of our solid rocket boosters, so I had to put them up this high, and that means we do have to carry the mass into orbit with us, but that's just what's going to happen, unfortunately. Alright. Things are going okay so far. We are in space. Now, I think that should be enough fuel to get us into a proper orbit. Let's take a look at the map. I want to see where our apoapse is. In fact, we're just going to fly out to our apoapse now, and then we're going to do the burn there. It'll save us a lot of fuel. So let's do that. I think it's at like 230-something thousand meters. I should probably turn off our SAS, otherwise it's going to drain our fuel, or our electricity rather. Our electrical charge is fine, but I didn't want to, you know, test it. All right, so we're probably near our apoapse. No, not quite actually. So let's speed up time a little bit and slow down time. All right, and we're definitely going to be reaching our speed contract when we're re-entering the atmosphere of Kerbal, so I'm not really worried about that. But right now we're worried about getting into an orbit. And it looks like we're just about there. Alright, we're definitely in orbit, so let's cut the engines and do some science. Now that we are in orbit, we should get some better science from this. So let's open up the materials bay and observe the mystery goo. 30 science plus another 9. Well, only 9 if it transmitted, so let's keep the data. Hopefully we're not going to lose any of it. Observe the materials bay. 75 science, we're definitely keeping that. So we're in a high radiation environment, by the looks of it, or by what the Science Junior said. Alright, let's do a crew report. It's very round. 15 science, not bad. Alright, well, I think we can maybe try an EVA. Well, we'll try an EVA when we're on the bright side. Make sure our SAS is turned off, and let's start orbiting. Whee! Alright. Hello. Hello, sun. Alright. Let's rotate this around. And stop. Alright. Let us do an EVA. Oh, I can't do an EVA without upgrading the astronaut complex, so I guess we're going to just sit here like this. Alright, let's close the close the service bay so upon re-entry nothing bad happens. And let's wait until we get the full orbit. And I think we have all of our contracts. Okay, yeah, we have all of our contracts except for the reach the really high speed one. So where is KSP command is like right there, so if we burn retrograde right now, we might actually land close enough to it that we can recover the full contents of the vessel. So let's burn towards retrograde right now. Oh, there's retrograde. And there we go. Oh, I need to burn retrograde just a little bit more. So we might actually not actually reach our speed goal, unfortunately. And let's, ooh. This is quite touchy there. There we go. Well, actually we might. The gravity of Kerbal might actually speed us up. So let's find out. Well, we are certainly speeding up. Oh, there's KSP command, and there's the island, and uh-oh. There's our prograde orbit. We don't need the retrograde. So we have our heat shield facing the correct direction. And we can turn off our SAS. Alright, so what's our altitude? We're still in space, so we're not going to hit any resistance yet. Alright, now we hit the atmosphere, so we might not reach that speed objective. Maybe next time. I think that's what we can go for. If, well, actually, no, we're still speeding up. We're going to be hitting the lower part of the atmosphere pretty soon, though, so I don't think we're actually going to reach it. Alright, well, let's make sure we're pointed towards retrograde and lock that. Hopefully our electrical charge will hold out. Oh yeah, our electrical charge will be just fine. And hopefully our heat shield will hold up. I think it should. It's only a low curb in orbit, so we're not going too fast. Unfortunately, it's really dark, and I don't know where we are. We might be over an ocean. We might be over mountains. So, as soon as we are slow enough and those re-entry effects stop, I'm going to deploy our parachutes. I mean, we are actually quite low. If there was a mountain here, we might hit it. But I think we're over an ocean. Yeah. Alright, well, let's deploy the parachutes. We are going slow enough, so there we go. And let's speed up time a little bit. And we are quite low over the surface. And yes, that is an ocean below us. I might have to brighten this up for you in post effects because it is quite dark, and I know YouTube can make things even darker, so I might have to do that for you. And in around 500 meters or 1,000 meters, these things are going to deploy. 500 meters it is. Don't want to be going too fast when that happens because things can break apart. There we go. And we're going a nice gentle 4 meters per second. So hopefully we'll be able to recover everything. I don't think we'll be too far away from the Kerbal command. And we did get that upgrade to help us find our spacecraft parts when they're further away from our KSP command. So a gentle 4 meters per second is definitely what we want. And in about 5 seconds, we're going to land. 2, 1, touchdown. All right. Let's recover the vessel. And let's see what we get from this awesome mission. It was a quite successful mission. We didn't flip around and do any crazy things we didn't intend to do. We got 140 science. That is fantastic. And as far as funds go, we got a lot. We didn't get much from the craft itself. The craft was pretty expensive, and we only got 3,500 or 3,600 back from it. Okay, maybe closer to 3,700, but... And XP gained. Advanced to level 1. Alright. We have a total of 284 reputation. Awesome. And it looks like we have orbital debris. Let's recover that. I think that's just the little stability enhancers. That's all those are. Okay, well, I think we need to upgrade our astronaut complex so we can do EVAs. And yay, Jeb has 1 star. Good for you, Jeb. So let's upgrade the facility. And there we go. Hopefully that will allow us to well, let us have more Kerbal knots, and it will hopefully allow us to do EVAs now. Ooh, Marsha's pretty stupid. Let's hire her. Alright. That is awesome. So let's close that. And let's see what, well, let's do the missions in a little bit. Let's do some science right now. Let's spend our hard-earned science that we worked all episode for. So we could go for heavy rocketry, which will give us the Poodle engine, the Skipper engine, and the Kickback solid rocket booster, which is absolutely massive, which will help us a great deal get out of the lower atmosphere. And that's the hardest part right now, because we tend to do flips and backflips and all sorts of things that gymnastic people do and not spacecraft. Also, we could do basic science. We could get rechargeable batteries. That we could put the batteries and thermometers in our service bay, which would help give us more science. And we could have better comms. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And then we have some landing stuff. We have a bigger heat shield, bigger landing struts, an escape launch system, parachutes, and small landing gear. Advanced control gives us better SAS, which is really good. A lander can. I'm not really interested in this right now. However, we do need that to get to landing, but we'll do basic science. And from there, ooh, better fuel tanks. I like that, so we're going to research that. That gives us bigger and better fuel tanks. All right. That's good. All right. Yeah, that's right. That was fantastic. Fly to the moon. Soon, but not right now. Perform visual surveys of Kerbal. There are places on Kerbal we don't know much about. Head to there and see what you can see. We could try this. I'm not actually sure how to figure out where these zones are, but I will do that in between episodes so that we can do some of these missions and make some money. Alright, well, we might as well do this one because we have the decoupler. I don't think we have the kickback solid rocket booster quite yet. And we don't have these engines. Well, we still do. Well, apparently we did reach the 24,000 or 2,400 meters per second at some point in our journey because we don't have that as an active mission. And where is the speed record? Interesting, it vanished. Oh well. Available. So, I think that'll do it for now. In fact, next episode, I think we're going to try maybe build some space. Well, I don't think we have enough stuff to build space planes, do we? Well, we do if we try hard enough. Yeah, we got winglets. That's good enough, right? Well, we'll try to do some new and fancy and exciting things next episode. Thank you, folks, for joining me, and I will see you folks next time.